I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 332. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. How are you today? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm looking out at the woods. It looks like late summer. Every now and then I see a yellow leaf fall from the tree. And then I see a hummingbird come up to the window and say hello to me. It's the end of summer as we know it. And it's just beautiful. And today I have something really, really special for you. As I always say, but I do. I had a listener just like you write me a letter, and I thought it was so good. And she had so many different points in there that I thought if she was brave enough to come on, that I could coach her on some of the things that she wrote to me about. And I think it'll resonate with you too. And I think however I coach her will help you. It's like you can stand in for her. That's the beauty of when I coach somebody else in front of you. I call it osmosis coaching. It's like you get the coaching even though you're not here talking to me. You will get it too. And that's why I love group coaching, because that's what happens is even when you are not being personally coached, you are. And your brain is open in a different way when you're not being coached. So sometimes you can have even more aha moments than when you're being coached personally. So with this, let's see what you think about this. Her name is Sara, and she wrote me this letter, and I just want you to hear the letter. And when I coach her, I won't read the letter again, so I just want you to hear it one time. So this is what she wrote. I'm a new listener to your podcast. I'm a 61-year-old wife, 39 years married. I'm a nana to 6, and this year I think I'm finally nearing the end of my menopausal journey. But the journey of weight loss is not over. Your testimony reads much like mine. I've been circle sailing the same ocean of losing 20 pounds and finding them over and over again for decades. I'm a regional director for a nonprofit fitness ministry, and it's unbelievable to me that my life has been surrounded by fitness gurus and wellness strategists, and I still struggle to get it right myself. I'm also a freelance writer and currently writing a book called Balance, A Journey to Wholeness, physically, spiritually, and nutritionally, if I can ever get over the shame of my own faults. So you guys, before I read on, I just want you to know that she's got a lot of thoughts in here that are coachable. So it'll be interesting to see where I go. But I wanted to read on. Then she says, I began to listen to you and found that I needed to start at the very beginning from your very first podcast. So being a newbie, I have downloaded your companion guide and am taking notes ferociously as I listen to all of your amazing tools. The thing that is hardest for me right now is that I battle with too much of the joy eating and drinking, which turns quickly into the all-night fog binge storm eat. Mindfulness is what I need most, but to be honest, with a house full of people, our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter, who don't eat fuel foods, are living with us temporarily while their house is being built. I struggle with the social pressure of this in a huge way, and even my husband, whom I adore, does not share my desire to make good choices. I know in my mind that no one is forcing me to make these choices, but I find myself in this wake of really needing to find answers to get right for life. So all that to say, I wanted to thank you. I'm learning to listen to my body cues and ways to find the balance of what true physical hunger for me and to enjoy life along with it. Your encouragement and wisdom speak volumes, and I just hope and pray I can accomplish my goal for the next phase of my life. And she goes on to say, I want to just say she's from Colorado. And so she just said, hello from Colorado. And if I ever go to Colorado, to please visit her. So that's from Sarah. And what I want you to do now is get cozy, or if you're in the car, relax, or if you're out walking, enjoy. But listen as I coach her, and let's see what part of this letter is where she wants to go. I have a couple ideas, but I hope you can see from the letter that she's got a lot of thoughts that could use a little coaching on. So stay tuned. All righty. Hello, Sarah, and welcome to the show. You are one brave soul.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Dr. Deb. It's a real thrill and a treat for me to actually speak with you.
Thank you. And I read your letter ahead of time. So everyone's gotten a little feel for what's going on with you. And you wrote about a lot of different things. So what I'm kind of curious about for you, because how long have you been listening to my podcast, would you say?
Oh, my goodness. I'm very new. So I would say possibly 4 weeks, a little over 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Right. And it resonates with you, I'm assuming.
Yes, I'm ready to tell all my friends and their friends and to go listen to you because, yes, they are.
I love that. Okay. Can you tell me just a little bit about your story? You said that you've been on this journey for a long time and you resonate with my story. So can you tell me just a little bit about it?
Well, the little parts that I resonate with you spoke about it in some of your beginning podcasts, and struggled with weight gain when I was younger in college. Really struggled with self-image, body image. I was bulimic for many years. I want to say almost 15 at about the time when I met my husband. I met my husband in college.
Mm-hmm.
And really got off the bulimia wagon when I met him. I never went through any kind of counseling or therapy or anything for it. It's just I didn't even know there was a name for it.
Uh-huh. I can relate to what you're talking about. I did the same thing.
And it wasn't until really I heard I think it was a talk show, an old talk show, and they were talking about eating disorders and bulimia. And I started perking up to it. I was like, oh my goodness, I think I have that. I think I do that. And what scared me was in that little time, they said that, bulimics have a hard time ever getting pregnant. They could lose their teeth. And the weirdest thing to me is that, I heard I might lose my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and then after that, I didn't do it for a long time. But the thought of doing it again when I would start gaining weight again, it would sort of be the go-to thing that I would think about, even though I wouldn't actually do it. But I struggled about 15 years.
Wow. That's so interesting because I struggled with it too, like from 20 to 30 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and it's very interesting because even though that kind of behavior, I stopped doing it as you did, still the behavior of restricting and depriving and overeating is still kind of the same kind of behavior from the same kind of thinking.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what you're stuck with now, I think. Tell me where I'm wrong.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still struggle with I love how you call it a storm or a fog eat, because it's like it begins with a joy. It begins with kind of a joy eat. And I know the good foods. I know what to put in my body and what the fuel foods are.
Yes.
Those are real natural for me. I know about it. But for me, when it becomes a joy, I'll have a glass of wine. I'll be sitting with my family. It will be a happy moment. And then all of a sudden it starts turning into, okay, another glass of wine, a little bit more to eat. And then I'm starting to nosh. Then it becomes this foggy thing. And when you said fog, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm in a fog. It's like I know what I'm doing, but I'm sort of outside myself. I'm sort of like over there across the street, and I'm watching myself from the outside in, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. So when you're watching yourself from the outside in, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, wow, this is really pathetic.
Okay. It's really good to see. Because here's the interesting thing is what you said to me is it begins with joy. Now, here's where I want to show you, because what you wrote in your letter is you said that you thought you had a problem with joy eating, that that's the hardest, that's a battle for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you started this was it begins with joy. So you think that because you're in a happy moment, like say you're with your family or whatever, right? And it's a happy moment, that there's happiness inside of you. And it can be a happy moment, but why do you want to drink the wine if it's not a fuel food and it's a happy moment?
Yeah, I, because it's there, because everyone else is,
Uh-huh.
having wine or drinking. And although it seems as though that they can stop at a certain point, and then I'm just in the mode.
Uh-huh. So you think they can stop and you're in the mode?
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah. So the first thing that comes up, and this is really interesting for you and for everybody that's listening, is that the way that I use the tool of joy eating, especially in the beginning, is more to plan it than to just give into an emotion. Because I think the way that you're using your joy food, which is the wine, is giving into an emotion. You want to feel something, so you want to drink it. Tell me where I'm wrong.
No, I'm following. I
Okay.
don't think that's incorrect.
You
I
think
think
that's correct?
yeah, I think you're right on.
Okay. And so, and it's interesting because you're also in a very happy situation.
I know.
Right. And so this is the thing that's really important to see, that what's going on outside of you and what's going on inside of you are not always the same thing. And that's getting connected into your own emotions, which is, yes, you're very happy about being with your family, but inside of you, you're getting an urge or a desire to want to eat something that may not be in your best benefit.
True.
And your little brain says something about that.
True again.
What does it say?
Until you said that, I think that I get to a point where I know if I don't really care about what I'm going to eat, then I'll be able to eat it and it won't matter because I'll start again tomorrow.
Wonderful. And so does it begin with the wine?
Not always, but sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing, because what you wrote in your letter is, the thing that is hardest for me right now is that I battle with too much of the joy eating and drinking. So too much means that when a situation pops up, whatever that situation is, it can be a very happy moment. You're with your family, you're with your friends. You give in to urges too much. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Definitely.
Right. And so the question is why? Because it's not giving you what you want.
I don't want to say I don't know, because
I'm so glad you could say that. You've listened to enough podcasts to know that. That's really good. Love that. Yeah. So if you did know.
Yeah, if I did know, I maybe not, I would maybe not choose to overindulge.
Okay. But if you did know why you did it, is what I want to know. Like, I'm asking you why you're choosing to do it when you know you're not going to get what you want. Because that's what you're writing in your letter. So you know this.
I don't know. And I know you hate that.
No. I think it's really common, because that's where you are right now, is your brain turns off and says, I don't know what's going on here. And of course, when you say, I don't know, guess what? You don't know, which really allows you to do whatever you want because you don't know.
I think at times I just don't care, and I want to be rebellious, and I want to have that frozen yogurt with all of the different toppings on it. And I know everybody's going to go do that later, and if I was in a really clear state, if I wasn't in a foggy place, if I had a clear mind, I probably would just go up to that little Lulu's frozen yogurt stand,
Yeah.
and I could have some tea. instead and they could just have their stuff. At times I feel like I'm a lone ranger
Why is that?
because no one really cares about wanting to eat well and
I know. What's that got to do with you? So here's a really interesting thing because what you wrote in your letter is you talked a lot about your other family members.
Mhm.
That they, like your son and daughter-in-law, are living with you right now. And they don't care about eating fuel foods, I think is what you said. And your husband's not that interested either.
Correct.
Right. So what I want to ask you is what's that got to do with you? Because it's all running together with the wine and the yogurt and everything else. And you feeling like a Lone Ranger.
I guess all I can say is I feel the peer pressure of not doing it. I'll get comments about, "Oh, come on, Sarah. You can have some dessert. Oh, come on, Sarah. You can come up to Lulu's and have this. Oh, come on, Sarah. Have another." And so I know no one is forcing me. I could say I could. That's why I just want to be able to stand strong in myself
Mm-hmm.
and not feel like because of all that, because of that outside pressure that I'm feeling at that time, that I have to make those choices because I know I don't have to make those choices. But therein lies my circle sailing,
I love
my
that.
over and over, and it's really not mine; it's Thoreau.
I love that though. The circle sailing, the cycle of going through the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you're talking about 20 pounds that you gain and lose over and over again, right?
Right.
Uh-huh. So my question first is how come it's not like 50 or 60 pounds if you have so little control? Why isn't it 50 or 60 or 90?
I think I get to a point where I feel so, all my clothes are getting so tight, and I get to this place of determination that I am not going to buy another size up. And so I stay there. And then I kind of go back down, and then I come back up, and then I go back down. And I get to that point where no, I cannot do this. And it scares me to the fact that I go back to this memory a long time ago. My parents are gone now, but it was when my parents were going through a divorce, and I came back from college during the summer, and my dad looked at me and he said, "Wow, Sarah, you better be careful. If you might be getting as fat as your mother."
Lovely. You haven't forgotten that, huh?
Oh my gosh, if I could get rid of that in my mind.
Right. Uh-huh. If you could get rid of that in your mind, what would happen?
Ah, there definitely would be some freedom. It's the belief in what my father had told me that became how I view myself, but it also ties into all the other stuff. He and my mom had just divorced. Man, if I don't get thin, if I don't lose this weight, I could maybe never marry someday.
Ah, because you could end up like your mother and he divorced her.
Hmm.
Mm. It's fascinating, isn't it? How long ago was that?
Well, I was 14 years old and when they got divorced. But I was in college, so I want to say that I was probably 18 at the
And
time.
how old are you now, if you don't mind?
Well, I think I told you I was 61.
You did, but I just wanted everybody else to hear it.
I'm almost 61.
You're almost 61. So that's like 50 something years of believing something that doesn't serve you. You have a thought about what he said to you. Like what he said was, and I'll tell you with memories, it's funny that he may not have even said what you think he said to begin with, right? Because memories are weird. But let's just assume it's exactly what he said.
Okay.
Like that, let's make that a fact.
Okay.
That he said that you might get fat just like your mother if you keep this up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
What did you make that mean in your mind?
In my mind at that time, I think one, that no one would ever find me desirable.
If I got fat.
If I got fat,
Mm-hmm.
that I'd
And your
be,
father was already telling you that you were getting there.
mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
that, I would be unworthy for a relationship
Okay.
down the road.
Uh-huh.
And, I'm just, that I'd be living in shame, I guess.
Okay. So this is what I want to show you. And this is going to be really important for you and anybody that's listening. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to get into the joy eating from this, but this is really important because this happened 50 years ago. But it's like it happened yesterday in your head. And that is a choice. What happened in the past is unchangeable, what he said. The only thing you have, Sara, is how you want to think about what he said 50 years ago now. And that is totally changeable. What he said is not. How you think about it is. You're thinking what you thought when you were 18. You still believe the same thing. It's an option. It's an option. You're thinking, you're thinking it's reality.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be old enough to get over this,
No,
right?
I don't. I don't. And the reason is because you're still thinking like you did at 18 years old. And it's a well-worn path. It's a neural pathway that gets a lot of use still. It's not uncommon. But you don't have to keep thinking it. In this moment, it could change.
I would like that.
Right. So you have to see that who the heck knows where your father was really coming from and what he really meant. I mean, my guess is he just loved you to death. And he believed something about that and gave it to you. So lovely.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it because he wanted to hurt you and make sure that you felt unworthy for the rest of your life. He thought he was doing you a great big favor. He was doing it out of love.
Yeah. Well, that would be a better way to look at it, wouldn't it?
Well, my guess is. I don't know. Well, you're guessing as much as I am.
I know it's emotional. My goodness, you stirred up a little bit of emotion there.
That's okay, but you can just take a deep breath because that's been there for a long time, and it's running the course now around eating and food, and especially joy eating, especially when you're around family. So here's what I want to offer you. That you can continue to believe that because you're talking about 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 5 pounds. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're talking about weight, probably anything. But for you, I think you got the 20-pound limit, right? Like up to 20 pounds, I'm still almost lovable. Not quite, but almost.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, and I'm there. I'm like at the tip.
Right, and so that's what you use to bring yourself down. Is you just scare the out of yourself. Excuse my language. They'll probably beep this. But seriously.
No, that's true.
Oh, you had better just stop eating or else you're going to lose everything. That's what's going on in your head.
Yeah, and God forbid that I lose my husband of 39 years who absolutely adores me at 20 pounds overweight.
You don't adore you at 20 pounds overweight. It's not about him.
I know.
It has nothing to do with him and it has nothing to do with relationships except with yourself. That's what needs working on. And when you have a relationship with yourself, weight will not be an issue. You're using it to reward and punish yourself. Based on what somebody who had a mind that was working however it was working, gave to you. And you have decided to accept it for 50 years as if it was the truth. It's not. You are worthy and lovable no matter what.
I do want to believe that.
I know, but you don't quite, right? If you were honest with me, be honest. It'll help the coaching session. Don't start lying now.
Yeah, no. I it kind of how I feel about myself is tied into if I eat good, if I don't eat good.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm really on and I'm losing weight and I'm feeling good about it's like walking out the door with a good hair day. You
Mm-hmm. That's a good
you
one.
just you walk out and you're just like, yes, I'm feeling so great, and I could be an encouragement to anybody around me. But when I have just like had a huge binge the night before and feeling horrible, and I wake up and go, oh, see, now that's where the regret and the guilt and the failure and all the shame comes. And it's like I can't get out. It's so hard to get out of that mode. And but the light at the end of the tunnel for me is to never have those thoughts about myself, and to never go into that place of binging and overeating and just overindulgence of anything.
Never is a big word. Wouldn't you like to understand it better?
I would like to understand it, why I do what I do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to never do it. Because here's the thing, as long as you're doing it, you can hit yourself over the head, which is what you do. Or you can be more curious about what's going on. The reason you're cycling for all of these years is because you're not willing to look. You just punish yourself. And tell yourself, you keep this up, you're not going to have anything left.
Yeah, that's good.
So we call that is not what self-compassion is. That's what punishment is. That's what you're using. And you're using it almost just like your dad used it on you. You're just repeating it for him. You're bringing what happened 50 years ago, and you're still thinking the same thing and using it. That's why it's so important that you change the way you think about that.
Wow.
Because you're very regimented here. It's like we're not going over 20 pounds. So you got a lot more control than you think you have. And you're allowing all of this to happen. This is not something that's just, you're totally know what's going on.
Right.
Totally. You're totally controlling the show. This is how it goes. I get to have a lot of joy and then no joy, and then a lot of joy and then no joy, all revolved around food. That's not where joy comes from. It comes from you, inside, in your mind. You can't feel joy when you feel shame.
No. It's nearly impossible.
Right. And so where I want this to be today for you is I want you to be able to see what you're thinking about what happened 50 years ago, and we're going to change it just a little bit.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, you believe your thought that you're unworthy of a relationship if you gain weight. Like your body is dependent on a relationship, how it looks.
When you put it that way, it sounds so superficial.
That's why we're looking at it. Because we're trying to get your observer part of your mind to have a look. Instead of you have this thought you've been believing for so long that it's just mixed with shame. So you can't see it. But right now, I think I have you stepping out of it a little bit. So you're looking at it and going like, that is kind of strange. Now you're using a different part of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start looking at you as if you were your most beloved child. Is this what you would want your children to be thinking about themselves, as somebody said something horrible to them when they were young?
No.
What would you say to them if they said, Mom, I would be unworthy of a relationship if I gained 10 pounds?
Oh,
Would it break your heart?
oh my gosh. I'm already breaking with the thought of it.
That's right. It should be breaking your heart what you're thinking. And you have compassion. That the only reason you were thinking about it like that is because you believed it would help you, like your father thought.
Hmm.
It's not helpful.
No.
No. So what your dad said is what he said. The only thing that can change is how you want to think about it now. And here's the truth. As long as I believe what he said about my worthiness, about my weight, I will suffer.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Which means that if you believe something different, you wouldn't suffer. Not because of what he said. It's just because of your head.
Right.
As long as I think I would be unworthy of a relationship because of my weight, I will suffer. I will have shame. So that your brain starts connecting the thought, because your brain's connecting this as a reality, as if that's what he said, which is not what he said.
Right.
All he said is, you're going to get fat like your mother. That's all he said. Could mean a million things. In your mind, it meant that about your shame and unworthiness and about what it would mean to be in a relationship. You could change that now. And I really believe, and this is for everybody that's listening to this, is you can't go from I am worthy no matter what my weight is. Like that sounds like a great thought, doesn't it? But you know you're not going to buy it, right?
Right.
Right. Because you can't go there yet. But I promise you what we're doing right now is we're laddering these thoughts. So where you want to be, where you want to end up is no matter what my weight is, I'm always worthy. Where you are right now is I'm only worthy if my weight is a certain weight. So you have some laddering to go. Like where can we go in between these two thoughts?
Yeah. I need to be thinking so differently.
The only thing I think right now is as long as I think that, I will hurt, which is a laddering thought to, it's just a thought.
Right.
It has nothing to do with your father. It's just something that got in your head, in your 18-year-old brain that didn't know that much. It's stuck
Right.
at 18 years old.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
So let me ask you this. When you think about what your father said and you now think that it's possible that if I thought something different about what my father said, I could feel differently. See, I keep rewording my thoughts. I'm telling you all different thoughts that are possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you see that I'm doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how does that land when I say that to you?
My first thought is to get a different thought about my dad and what he said to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that I liked and I resonated with how you said, he didn't say that to be, mean to me or cruel to me, but he said that because he loved me.
You believe that now?
I have I know my dad loved me.
Okay, so that's really good to know. So the only thing is can you love you now?
Mm-hmm.
And be a little kinder?
I can be, and I need to be.
Well, you don't need to be, but don't you want to?
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm. And it really, really starts with some compassion for yourself and with a little bit of a broken heart with what you just said, with what I just showed you. Like that compassion for yourself is, oh my God, sweetheart, you've been believing that all this time.
I know. That grieves me. It's hard to hear that when you put it I mean, when I get it in front of me and I actually see that,
Hmm.
how long it's been, it's, for goodness sakes, I have 6 grandchildren.
I know, but don't use it as punishment.
Oh,
Don't use it
yeah,
as punishment.
yeah.
Like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, that's where I
Don't do
go.
that. You're just going back to that. Your brain just wants to keep punishing you. The practice is self compassion. It's like, well, of course you did. You didn't know any better. You didn't know any better until this moment. Thank you for talking to Dr. Deb. I knew this would help. I'm serious.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for stepping out and asking me to do
I'm
this.
telling you to thank yourself for doing this. For you. This is what's capable for you. This is what's out here for you.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. You can totally love and be kind to yourself. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with me. It's hard. Why is that so hard to say? It's like standing in front of the mirror and looking at myself and saying, I love you. You look great today.
You can't do that.
Those strong affirmations that you're supposed to say in the mirror are so hard for me to look at
we can't
myself.
go from where we are right now to I love myself and you are beautiful. That's where the laddering comes in. That's where we're going to head. Right now, what you need to see is that what I've been believing is causing a lot of pain. That's where I want you to be right now. That's it. It's like if I can change what I think, I can feel differently. Because you can see that how you have been thinking is hurting.
Right.
That means you can think something different.
Yes. Have a new thought.
Right. And so instead of feeling ashamed, you might start feeling more hopeful. It's possible I can feel different.
Yes, it's possible. Things are happening every day.
Well, it's possible because you just heard this whole thing and now you see where all your thoughts are.
Exactly.
Now you see the difference between your thoughts and reality. Right? And your thoughts are creating much more of your pain than reality. And the beautiful thing about that is thoughts can change, and it's called neuroplasticity. Totally possible.
Well, I'm excited about that.
I would be really excited about it. If I was going to continue to work with you, then we would start working on the joy eating and all the pressure you put on yourself about what happens when you're with other people. Because you have a lot of beliefs about that make you eat when you really maybe wouldn't eat if you didn't feel like you had to. I don't care. If somebody says to you, how come you're not eating? What is that big? Why is that a big deal? Why does that cause pressure? It's like people ask me all the time why I'm not eating because I don't want it. And you go, oh my God, when somebody asks me that, that's a big problem. I just eat it.
I know there's this obligation.
Right. So
feeling.
Yeah. So with the time that we have, which is just about over, it's really something all of this is going to open up your eyes and your head and probably everybody that's listening as to why this coaching is so imperative and what it brings up. And that because this all came about, everything that we talked about started out from a joy.
I know, right?
Right. And this is what happens every single time. It's like we talk about a brownie and we end up talking about your father. For you, it was a glass of wine and then we're talking about dad. Like, how does that happen? It happens all the time. That's why it's so successful. Because it's not about the food.
Right.
It's about your brain and what it's doing, where it's going, and how to supervise it better.
That's excellent.
Yeah. So has this been helpful, I hope?
Oh, my word. Yes, it has. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure, Sarah. And I wish I had hours to talk to you because there's so much in this letter that I did not even get to. But I will tell you this, you are not alone.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for your words of wisdom and everything that you're doing on your podcast. It's
Thank you.
simply amazing.
Thank you, Sarah, for being brave enough to be on here and to know that if you're brave enough to be on here with hundreds of people to be coached, that you are worth it. You're doing it for you, right? That's why you're here. It's like, I'm just going to do it because I need it.
Right.
Yeah. That's what you've got going for you, is you've got you.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Well, what did I tell you guys? That was an amazing coaching session. I never, ever know where my coaching sessions are going to go because I just go with where my client is and what she brings up. And I really thought I was going to go more to the joy eating and why she's joy eating and being with her family and the pressure. But did you see that her brain started going back in time? And that's what I want to show you, is that that is the power of coaching and what the brain does and what it thinks. And as much as I'm not as interested in going back in the past, which is really what therapists do, but what was interesting to me is I'm very interested in what she thinks now about her past. And those thoughts were so treacherous. And I really wanted you to see that. And I wanted her to feel that. Boy, did she. And I think that this is going to be an eye-opener for her and an eye-opener for you. You know, we were just talking about joy eating, and look where we ended up. That is the power of weight coaching and coaching in general. And this is what I do every day. And it is the privilege I have of working with women around these issues and the things that it brings up about our minds that we don't even know are running us. And I just want to end this because Sara actually ended up writing me a quick letter after this podcast. And it was so touching to me that I just want to share it with you because it was so powerful for her. So she just wrote, "Hello, Dr. Deb. I can't even begin to share my gratitude for you for coaching me on your podcast today. It was enlightening, uplifting, and challenging going through the thoughts I've had about myself for nearly 50 years. Wow. It was like sitting with a licensed therapist who knew just the right questions to ask. You were unbelievable." And I just want to say right here is that I know that she was just giving me a compliment, but I am nothing like a therapist really at all. But my coaching skills really are unbelievable. And it brings up so much stuff about the mind and the way that I do it. And so I really just think she was giving me a compliment, but I want you to know that they really are two totally very different things. And then she went on to say that I know the work on my inner core thoughts and beliefs are not over, but I do know in my heart I will be an overcomer. I will keep you posted how I'm doing if that's okay. And she went on to end with saying, "You were remarkably comfortable, brilliant, and beautiful doing our mini session. No doubt I will continue to share about you and your amazing podcast to everyone I know. Blessings, Sara." You guys, do you believe that I get to do this every day? It is amazing to me. The mind is amazing. The tools that I use are amazing. And it is also every day amazing to me what food brings up in our own minds. So if this is something that you're interested in and you are ready to be coached and to finish the struggle with food in your body, then I just may be your coach. And if you want to find out, all you have to do is go to drdebbutler.com/work with me, and you can fill out an application to have a mini session with me to find out if you would be a good fit for my program. And of course, as always, like I told Sara, please open up your heart to yourself and be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com change. CHANGE.